What's up, everybody? This is your boy Ken, aka MrGentleman, your host of MrGentleman Like That podcast, and this week's sponsorship is from Newsly. Newsly is a all-in-one audio super app for iOS and Android. It picks up web articles about the most trending topics on the web at any given moment and read them to you in a natural human voice. For the first time in ever on the internet, the entire web becomes listenable, all in one place. Browse articles from topic you choose, start playing, start scrolling, and start listening. You can follow any topic as you specifically as you like, from sports, science to Bitcoin, even for the Kardashians. It will find you on the latest article and you read them to you out loud. And they have podcasts as well. Explore trending podcasts from over 50 countries. Our podcast, MrGentleman Like That podcast, is on there as well. Yes, it is. Shout out to Newsly for that. I started using it as my default podcast app. Download and use Newsly for free from www.newsly.me or from the link in the description. Use the promo code MrGentleman that I will also put in the description and receive 1 month free premium subscription. So you already know, y'all. Download Newsly now. Check it out. Support them, y'all. This is your boy Ken, aka MrGentleman, your host of MrGentleman Like That podcast, and enjoy the show. You are now listening to MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast Season 6. True! Hello, everybody. This is your boy Ken, aka MrGentleman, 1/4 of the Premier Boys podcast, and your host of MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. And welcome to another new episode of MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. Hope all is well. And originally, I was supposed to have a special guest on this episode, but due to an emergency, we had to postpone the guest to next episode. So instead, I will have a personal episode discussing my struggle with self-doubt. And y'all already know what to do. Sit back, relax, and I'll be right back.
My name is Jonathan, and you are now listening to MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. And at this time, I will be giving y'all the MrGentleman Facts quote of the day. And today's quote of the day is, even when things seem far, keep going till you reach your goal. And what I mean by that is, no matter what, no matter how far the road is, keep going until you get there, because it may seem far now, but once you get to the finish line, it is always worth it. And that is today, MrGentleman Facts quote of the day. Hello, everybody. This is your boy Ken, aka MrGentleman, and I am the host of MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. And this commercial break is brought to you by MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. On MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast, we interview many guests about their life journey, pretty much where they come from and where they at now. Also promoting their brands or whatever they're doing at the time they come on the show. We also have the host talk about personal stories about himself and everything that he's been through. And also we have fun conversation about anything music, anything old school, relationships, wrestling, and many more. And y'all can tune in to MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast every Sundays at 12 a.m. We are also on every Thursdays at 12 a.m. for Spin-Off Series Thursdays, where we have all of MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast Spin-Off Series all in one day, where we have a conversation about music podcast every first Thursday at 12 a.m. The Old School Show with myself and the Star Roddy Rod every fourth Thursday at 12 a.m. And we have Date Night Talk Podcast with myself and Miss Vanna B every second and third Thursday at 12 a.m. And y'all can tune in to MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast on Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, The Pods, and many more. Or y'all can check it out on the official website of MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast, www.realmrgentlemanlifestylepodcast.com, www.realmrgentlemanlifestylepodcast.com, and tune in every Sundays and Thursdays at 12 a.m. for MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. Thank y'all for tuning in to this commercial break of MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. Back to your regularly scheduled program. Cheer! Hello, everybody. This is your boy Ken, aka MrGentleman. I am the host of MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast, and this following episode may contain sensitive topics that is not suitable for my audience. So I just want to take the time to let you know that viewer discretion is advised. Thank you and enjoy this episode.
This is a Coupon Queenman from the CQP Moments podcast, and you're listening to the MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast with the man himself, Ken, MrGentleman. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. And at this time, I'll be telling y'all my struggle with self-doubt. But before I do that, I will tell y'all the meaning of self-doubt. So what is self-doubt? Self-doubt is a lack of confidence regarding yourself and your ability. It's a mindset that holds you back from succeeding and believing in yourself. And for a long period of time, since I was a kid, I always have an issue with self-doubt. I didn't think that I would be great with anything because that's what people told me. So I started to believe it. And I felt like I wanted to do many things, but because I didn't believe in myself, I held myself back from doing all those things. And the cause of my self-doubt was many people who were bullying me used to tell me many things, that I would be a failure, that I was nothing, that I wasn't good enough to do anything. I have another cause was the girl that I had a crush on as a kid would reject me and call me ugly and just many harsh words. And with all that going on as a kid, you tend to lose confidence in yourself, which really affects the other person growing up, because you end up can't trust nobody. You always feel like somebody is out to get you. And not only that I dealt with self-doubt, I always dealt with trust as well. Because, my whole life, I had many people who thought was cool with me hurt me in some way. Whether it was people who thought was my friends, people who I used to dealt with in a relationship, and many more. So it was hard to really trust people. It was hard to really put myself out there because I never felt I had talent. I felt like whatever I was gonna do, that I was gonna make a fool out of myself. So all those negative things held me back from my real potential. But of course, as I got older, I started to learn to overcome my self-doubt by trying to find myself and finding out what was my real passion. At one point I thought it was poetry was my passion and writing music, but it turns out down the line it really wasn't. I thought acting was, but that thing didn't work out. It really wasn't. Like I said on the Purpose episode, people always told me about speaking with my mouth and stuff like that. Then the podcast came around, and when I presented the idea for the podcast, when I want to start MrGentleman Like That podcast around September 2018, I kept pushing the idea back because I wasn't sure if people was going to listen. I didn't think that people would care to hear what I had to say, or anything like that. So I pushed the idea back until one day in January 20th, 2019, I decided to put the show out finally. Even when the show out, I didn't believe in myself. I didn't believe in my product. I didn't believe in it, Until people started saying that, "Okay, you're doing good. I enjoy yourself," which gave me some kind of confidence. But at the same time, I still didn't believe it. And even though now that I am more of a better place, time to time self-doubt do come back to me time to time, because we have a lot of amazing podcasters out there, and a lot of them support me in many ways. But I start to get that negative feeling in the back of my mind, like, are they really supporting me, or do they want something? Is this support genuine, or what? And you start to wonder that for a long period of time, and that bothered me. And I always felt like my whole life that I had to prove to people that I belong. I had to work harder than most people just to show them that I belong and this is what I want to do. This journey of overcoming self-doubt was not easy. And I felt like, especially lately, that it started to come back to me. Even though, my show been number one on the podcast charts, people loving it, people been inspired by it. I do have doubts in the back of my mind that is my show really good enough? Do people really like my show? And sometimes you just have to get rid of those negative thoughts, and you just have to let go of the doubt, because you are good enough. You are good enough. In my final remarks, I just had to remind myself to always focus on the positive and not on the negative. Because when you focus on the negative, you end up going back to that self-doubt. That way you start believing yourself. That way you start to be confident in yourself. You have to remind yourself that you are great and you are doing amazing things. You have to look at what you've done so far and look at the growth that you've done within yourself. you have to make sure you have supportive people around you who will help you during that hard time. I want to appreciate, shout out to my bro Aaron Quito Sands, because I had a conversation with him and he helped me talk about this topic, which is why that I spoke about today. And y'all know when I do these personal news episodes, it is not for y'all to feel sorry for me. No, that's not the case at all. This is where I want y'all to be inspired, because like I always say, every personal episode, you just never know what someone is going through. I want to, you never know what somebody is going through. And by me opening up about my struggles, I hope somebody else open up, their struggles. If they have low self-esteem, or they're going through depression, or anxiety, or self-doubt. Also, I need to apologize to myself for always putting myself down, saying that I'm not good enough, when at the end of the day, I am good enough, and I am great, and I could do all things, because I am doing all things. Because you just have to always remember that in life, you will have doubts, but just make sure it's not the dead end. And I'll be right back. Hello, everybody. This is your boy Ken, aka MrGentleman, like the podcast and the Premier Boy podcast. And this commercial is brought to you by the Premier Boy podcast, where four people do where we talk about anything about the culture. Hosted by myself, Ken, aka MrGentleman, Mr. Aaron Sands from King Topic Aaron Sands, the Star Riding Ride, who is also my co-host of the Old School Show, and long live the Chief Mally Mal. And we talk many topics, from politics, music, sex, love, relationships, and many more. And also every topic that's going on in the news right now, many of our topics are very controversial, and the podcast show might not be for everybody, because we talk about many explicit content, and yeah. So if y'all decided to check out the show, y'all be warned, because y'all might need a drink or two. And yeah, because this podcast is so crazy. I'm shocked that it had not got canceled yet. So if y'all looking forward to listen to the Premier Boy podcast, check it out on Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and many more. Each and every Wednesday at 12 a.m. You can check out the Premier Boy podcast with myself, Mr. Aaron Sands, Star Riding Rod, and long live the Chief Mally Mal. This is your boy Ken, aka MrGentleman. Have a good day and night wherever you're listening to this episode. Now back to the show. Yeah! I just want to take the time to thank everybody for tuning into the latest episode of MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. Thank you, everybody that have been tuning in to my show, whether I have a guest or just me. It really means a lot. And thank you for continuing to support. And that's, for the bottom of my heart, I thank y'all, man. I thank y'all. And y'all already know where I'm at every Sunday and Thursday, starting on May 25th. MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. We are on Spotify podcasters, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Pods, and many more. Y'all can rate the show 5-star rating on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Good Pods, and Podchasers. The more y'all rate the show, the more people know about MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. May 25th, the second night for MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast spin-off series Thursday, starting on May 25th. Season 3 premiere of the Old School Show with myself and the Star Riding Ride, starting on May 25th, every fourth Thursday at 12 p.m. Then on June 1st, the season 2 premiere of a conversation about music podcast. June 1st, every first Thursday at 12 p.m. Then on June 8th, the season 2 premiere of MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast presents Date Night Talk Podcast with myself and Miss Vanna B. June 8th and every second and third Thursday at 12 p.m. So don't forget to save the date. Spin-off series Thursdays starting on May 25th. The Old School Show with myself and the Star Riding Ride. May 25th and every fourth Thursday at 12 p.m. A conversation about music podcast. June 1st and every first Thursday at 12 p.m. and Date Night Talk Podcast with myself and Miss Vanna B. June 8th and every second and third Thursdays at 12 p.m. Check out MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast on Sundays for the main series and every Thursday for spin-off series Thursday starting on May 25th. Y'all can also check me out with my brothers, the Premier Boys Podcast, with myself, Aaron King Toxan, the Star Rider Ron, and Long Live the Chief, Mighty Mal. Every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Y'all can also check out the show that I am executive producers of King Talk with Aaron Sands, hosted by Aaron King Talk Sands, every Friday at 12 p.m. And Star Time Podcast, hosted by the Star Rider Ride every Mondays. Also look out for Long Live the Chief Mighty Mouse Show, The Bridge, coming soon. If you would be a guest on MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast, y'all can send me a bio about yourself and everything that you do to my email, kenYPGENT@gmail.com, or y'all can hit me up on social media, Ken_MrGentleman. I repeat, Ken, KEN _ Mr. MR Gentleman, GENTLEMAN, and we can set something up. At this time, we got your favorite new end of the episode segment. We got the MrGentleman Lifestyle Shoutouts, where I shout out 5 podcast shows just so I could give them their flowers. Last week, we shout out 5 podcast shows last week. The Talking Smack Podcast, How Coronavirus Saved My Life, The Family Burrito, The Sigma Cinema Podcast, and The Big Brother Advice. Check out those 5 shows I just mentioned for last week right now. And at this time, it's time to shout out new 5 new shows for the MrGentleman Lifestyle Shoutouts. And the first show that I will shout out is Lady Anonymous Podcast. She talk about life, love, and the universe. I could always listen to the show. She even told personal stories. I love listening to the show. I love her voice, man. Yeah. And I just want to say, keep doing your thing. You're doing an amazing thing. And thank you for the keychain, man. It really means a lot. And once again, thank you. Next show that I will shout out is Visit Vegas Places with Coral. This is a very educational show where he interviewed many entrepreneurs that live in the Vegas area. And basically, he gives us knowledge about Vegas, and this is a really dope show, check it out. Shout out to Coral. Visit Vegas Places with Coral. Next show that I will be talking about is the Open Podcast. And this is a pretty new show that I started listening to. She talked about a lot about her dating life. She talked about her childhood traumas. And she bring many guests on the show with some really interesting topics. And, I became a fan of the show. Shout out to the Old Podcast. Really dope show. Check it out, y'all. Next, we got F My Work Life. And this show is a really dope show, hosted by J and K. And basically, they talk about, basically work life and interview many people discussing about their work stories. And it's a pretty interesting story. It's really a pretty interesting show. And, shout out to them and check out the show as well. And the last show that I will be listening to I will be talking about is High Tea with Mel, Kelly, and Kels. And, this show right here. This was one of my first shows that I listened to on Good Pod next to the Red Door podcast. You know, three black women, basically talk about everything from the culture, social life, relationships, and many more. I've always been a fan of this show. I'm waiting for a new season, but you know, this show is really dope. Check out High Tea with Mel, Kels, and Kay, and really dope show. And check out the 5 shows that I just mentioned. Lady at Dominus podcast. Visit Vegas Places with Coral. The Oak podcast. F My Work Life. And High Tea with Mel, Kels, and Kay. Check out those 5 shows that I just mentioned. And that is this week. MrGentleman Lifestyle Shoutouts. And y'all already know, add me on Good Pies, Ken, MrGentleman. Y'all already know Good Pod caters to many independent podcasters. We listen to each other's show, we rate each other's shows, and we have the charts. At this time, I will be doing the chart review. And we got this week's chart review from Good Pods. And doing this recording, MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast is number 2 for top 100 shows. We are number 2 for top 100 shows. For society and culture, we are still number 1. And we've been number 1 for 18 days. All I gotta say is, wow, that is really amazing. And once again, thank you for everybody that continue to support MrGentleman like the podcast. It really means a lot. It's really dope, man, that, you know, people listen to my show, you know. Once again, thank y'all, man. Thank y'all. It really means a lot, like, for real. And for top 100 episodes, we are number 86 for normal and 75 for indie for episode 116. A conversation with a Virgo with Shaquita Johnson is doing a Captain Hold It Down. Shout out to her, killing as always. Also, we are also on the charts for episode 117, Talk to Talk Back with Victoria J. And we just made 2 days at number 1 for this episode. And wow, I ain't gonna hold you. This was really unexpected, so I'm really shocked that this episode went to number 1. Thank you for everybody that listening to this episode, you know. And wow, thank you. This episode also went number 1 for indies, but it dropped today to number 3. So yeah, it really means a lot that everybody check out the show. And thank you to Victoria J and Shaquita Johnson, both of them, for the last 2 episodes coming to the show, sharing their stories, because those 2 women really told their story, and I appreciate them for coming to my platform and sharing their story to the world. So thank you, Miss Shaquita Johnson, and thank you to Miss Victoria J. 2 amazing women with 2 amazing those shows. Check them out right now. And that's it for the chart review. And y'all already know, check out the official website, www.realmrgentlemanlifestylepodcast.com, www.realmrgentlemanlifestylepodcast.com. You can check out every episode of MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. You can watch every video. You can see all the guests that have been on my show. We have 59 guests as of right now. 59 guests that have been on MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. You can check every guest appearance that I've been on. Y'all can buy merch from MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast merch. Available on TeePublic right now. You also can buy it on the website. We got new design coming real soon. And don't forget to check out the website, www.realmrgentlemanlifestylepodcast.com. Once again, thank you everybody that was tuning in to MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast, not only for this episode, but every week. And thank y'all, like, for real, y'all. Have a good day or night, wherever you're listening to this episode.
Hi, my name is Vaughn Ovello, and you're listening to MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast.